miles an hour now. Now ready, set, go. Whoa.
Morning, guys. I'm Miles Baker. I'm here on the replay. Got some legends in the making with me. Jake Barnes, 7-time world champion. Trevor Brazile, 26-time world champion. And Clint Summers, who, if you've been watching the team roping, you might wonder if there's anybody else competing right now, but there actually is. Clint's just after him, so he's on his way to maybe a gold buckle too. We're going to run through these runs this morning, but to give y'all a quick recap, we got with Clint here. He's won 3 of the first 4 rounds, 5th in the average, and right now he's up there at the top as far as the projected gold buckle. I think the Nelson White and Torres are the projected world champs if it ended right now, but everybody knows we're only halfway through, and Clint's right up there with them. Clint come in 13th in the world, I think, and Jake Long maybe 9th, and right now they're setting first in the world, but you take the average into the consideration, and White and Torres are there, but Clint's currently leading the world, so what a feat to go from 13th to that in just 4 rounds, and we're going to break it down and look at some of these runs. This is Nelson and Torres last night. Like I said, they're winning the average right now. We're going to run that video back. This yellow, I want y'all's comments on it, but man, he looks easy in this arena. Like he's giving him good goes, and he doesn't look like he's going to get strong and take anything away from him. And just that horse looks like he's done his part to keep him first in the average.
These 2 guys, I feel like are throwing way more deliberate loops than I see a lot of other times. And I think a lot of it has to do with that yellow head horse giving him a little bit more time. But his loops, he's not trying to catch back up to a horse that maybe beat him. Like his loops look real deliberate. And Johnny's doing the same thing on the back end. Like he's making sure, but I mean, he's taking aggressive shots, but it looks like he knows when he throws it, you know. The only thing I see right here, that slack in the head rope looks dangerous for the rest of the week. He's got to figure out a way to keep that steer's head so it doesn't have Jonathan slipping legs or even having a bad angle to heel at right there.
Yeah, I'm with Trev. Nelson, he's just in his comfort zone, looks like. He, back east growing up, that man, he can rope really, really good, obviously. But his horse is being super forgiving, free, and just letting him rope the horns. And, man, he does a good job of that. And Torres, man, Johnny, he heels really good. And I think that they're going to continue to do good the rest of the week.
Yeah, so we'll go on to 4th place last night, which was Coleman and Logan, who won the round the night before. But, man, that's such a good heel horse. And then Coleman's horse, Heisman, he has kind of a little niche on him in this arena. It seems like he can get to rolling and turning them fast, and this team's looking real good as well.
Yeah, last night, that steer there was the steer Jake Clay, and Worley ran the first round, which was one of my picks, honestly. And normally Coleman drills the barrier pretty much every night, and I was actually behind the chute right there. And he was off the barrier, and Coleman reached a long ways right there. I thought that was a heck of a run last night they made.
I think it doesn't matter in this arena. If you miss it a little bit, you can make it up with your rope as long as you don't make it up with your horse moving left. That horse stayed to the cow good enough till he got it on the horn, and it still set that steer up to heel.
Yeah. Talking about doing stuff with your rope, we'll go to the team that placed 3rd in the round last night, Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe. Golly, T-Wade, everybody knows he'll get a neck every once in a while, but he's through some sharp horn loops, and that was one of them last night. He put it on the horns tight.
Yeah, he got a great start. You know, usually Tyler, he reaches out there a long ways and gets him around the neck, but his handles are always good around the neck. But there, it was tight. You know, here, the start's everything. Great start. I mean, that's a picture-perfect run right there.
I just like the shape that Wesley rides. It seems like he can almost be – it almost looks like he's already swung over their back one time and they're just now legal. The way he enters the corner, he looks sometimes a touch tight, but the way he enters from behind, it does set him up. And the angle of his swing, it just all fits good together for the shape that he rides right there.
going on to second place, probably maybe the most aggressive hill shot we've seen so far, but Luke Brown and Hunter Cook. Luke obviously knows how to win in this arena. I don't know how many times he's won the average, but, man, Hunter cut that one down fast last night.
I was actually talking to somebody when this run happened last night, and I heard somebody gasp because I think they thought it was really close on the crossfire. But seeing it live right here, I think a lot of it was his horse was still gaining in that and contributed to making it look bad. But it was definitely fast, no doubt about that. But
yeah, and that steer set up so quick, so fast, and so good. Luke did a great job right there. It wasn't like he didn't swing so far down the arena into it and make it look more dramatic than it was, you know.
Yeah, I think that Luke did a great job. That steer's a little bit low-headed. You can't really see from this angle or whatever, but straight. But Luke, man, he did a great job. But Hunter has him on a pretty short rope right there. If you watch, you know, he healed him, and I think that really stopped the clock pretty dang good.
Who all's rode that hill horse out here? Did Jet ride him out here? Or did he have him?
I know Jet and Paul both had that horse. I don't know. I don't know if Jet rode him out here or not.
Horse has been around a long time. That's a good horse.
Yeah, I don't know about Jet. Paul might have run a couple on him out here, but I don't think Jet did.
Didn't have him yet.
Nope.
Yep, just the gray maybe. So go on to the winners of the round and the winners of 3 rounds so far. But Clint Summers and Jake Long, like we got Clint here with us today, and so he can tell us what it feels like up there behind the helm. But it's looking pretty good so far, and man, what an amazing head horse. Golly.
Man, he is. That steer, the first night, Marcus got a little funky go on him. I don't know. I wasn't up there. I don't know if he turned his head when he nodded or what. So I was kind of concerned about that. And I remember looking up at the leaderboard before I went, and 4-8 was 4th. And I was thinking, well, for some reason, I get in here, he fights a shoot, and I get a little bit of a weird go. Surely we can go in the middle of the arena and be faster than 4-8. If I could get under there, that's good money. And if not, if it worked out, just make our run and see what happens. And
yeah,
man, it worked.
You're not tired of victory laps yet, are you?
No, man, that's awesome.
Well, you definitely beat the 4-8. I'm proud of you for that. But that he told me the same thing out here. You know, he was going to make sure that he was under the 4-8. And I think sometimes when you back in there and shake one out and you're trying to win first, it does make it a little harder. You cannot discount control, and these guys have had more than anybody up to this point because he's just going and showing you a good start and a controlled run is fast because Jake knows where to be, where to read. I did feel like a lot of healers got further down the arena. I don't know if people slid less rope or what was happening, but it looked like a lot of healers got by last night for some reason. But Jake, not too much, but he was dang sure. It looked hard to see that left leg, but he knew where you were going to have him.
Man, he hammered him. That's one thing he said last night when we got off to go do it with Amy Wilson. He said, man, that's how I like to heal him. He said, I got around that one.
Yeah.
I bet you'd like to have that steer again. I bet the other guys are dreaming for that steer.
So good, and that's what I was saying. I don't know what happened with Marcus exactly, but in the arena, that steer was my pick of, like watching him. He's perfect pattern, set up so good, and I just knew if we made our run, we should get paid.
How's transmission now?
Transmission's 19. He'll be 20 this coming year, and I don't know what I'll do when he goes down. Hopefully there'll be another one around, I hope.
But I think it says a lot for that horse because we know that Clint has a great lineup of head horses. I mean, Joe, the horse that came from JD8, is amazing. He won the horse of the BFI. He's the horse of the year in the PRCA. And then to be able to put him in the stall and have this much confidence in transmission, I mean, that just says a lot for your lineup too. But, I mean, it's definitely a good choice because they don't get any better indoors than that horse right there.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of sums up the round winners from last night. But to come to a conclusion, Clint's taking control by being sharp and riding his horse good, and then Jake Long's comfort zone's a little discomforting for most of us, but he does it really well. So
Jake's comfortable being uncomfortable in that zone, I think.
I'm wondering the history of the NFR. How many people have ever won 3 go rounds in a row?
Oh man,
that's one of the things that catches my eye.
Yeah. To do it in 4 rounds is amazing too. I mean, to do it in 10 rounds is amazing, but to just go to the first 4 and and pull 3 of them out of there. I mean, I'm really bad about remembering who's won the rounds, and Clint's made it really easy for me this year out there.
Well, it's just a testament to their run. Like, we talk about it every year. Every time we do this replay, we talk about guys trying to be fast in this arena, and we always go back to, guys getting in the wall too much, throwing too much rope, steers coming too far left, and then you have 3 round wins that look so sharp. Clint's hitting the barrier good. It looks like he's got a good feel for the barrier. The head loops are tight. He's stepping up, riding his horse good, giving Jake a good throw, and it's just proven that a Hail Mary run isn't what it takes to win a round.
And while we got him here, there's more of us at home that haven't been here than have. What is this setup like different than anywhere else that you go to? Take us through, what do you try to see at the start, and what are you trying, what are the key things you're trying to do through the run to not only make it 3 round wins? I mean, obviously you weren't trying to win those rounds, but you're trying to
run. Because getting a start is major here, because then you get them on a short rope and you can set them up as fast as possible for whoever's heeling for you, and I feel like that's a big key.
It can almost feel uncomfortable. Like, if you get too good a start, you almost feel like there's no way I got out.
That's right. They feel like, honestly, that they're beside you.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way. And then them guys in the back are screaming. And you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Just drape it on him and go.
Yeah, Ren made that comment because I think it was maybe the second round. They made a real good run. And when Ren stuck, he didn't go left at all for a minute. It was like he held, and then he went. And I was like, man, you rode your horse so good last night. And he said, I got such a good start that I felt like I was right next to the steer. And I knew if I just went, I was going to downstream the steer. Like, I had to hold and let the cow catch up to me. But he said it was such a weird feeling because I knew I got out, but I was still right next to the cow. And it must be a funny feeling to know that you got out, but you got out so good that you're nearly beside the cow.
I don't want to leave anybody out, but when I said it earlier, like Clint and Ren, watching them here is like, I feel like how you watch guys prepare for this, and they're like, when I get out there, I'm gonna not get caught up in the lights. I'm gonna go do this every time. And you get out here, and then you don't remember that game plan until you leave here, and you're like, I wish I would have stuck to that. It feels like these guys are taking that start, riding their horses, controlling the run. It's hard to execute what you've practiced at home this good once the lights come on, once the sportscasters start talking about how fast this is and that. I mean, it's admirable to stay the course. That's for sure.
I think the last time I was here, a little bit of that happened. I got here, I was excited, and then I got in there. It's my first year heading. I'd just been heading not too long, and I got to watching everybody else, and I was like, man, I need to speed up this and that instead of sticking to my run, which I kind of knew what to expect a little more this time. But me and Jake, we worked so hard at it and making our run, and I had to just keep my mind in a tunnel and know, hey, whatever them guys do, don't worry about them. Back in there, make our run, and whatever the clock says, so be it. Then that's what it is.
Yeah, the only thing you can look around and look at is know that those guys aren't riding transmission either. So, I mean, you've got something in your bag that, I mean, he's 19. You don't know how long that lasts, but I mean, like, that's something, there's something to be said for that, and it's magical while it lasts, that's for sure.
I feel a lot of times, the game plan that people come to the NFR, they're worried about the speed, especially the headers, taking a swing in the box and getting it on them fast. But to me, I think the job that you're doing, you're getting a great start, you're sticking it on them, and the rope's tight, the steer sets up fast, Jake's heeling them fast, you're getting a good finish, there's not slacking the rope when you face, so keep it up.
Thank you.
They forced me to talk about that, but I told Chelsea, I said, you're going to make me talk about round wins when we got 2 guys here that made a living riding their head horse good, and then we got the guy that I think rides a head horse as good as anybody and obviously has the best head horses going. So I said, you can't not let me talk about head horses. So I wanted to talk to Jake and Trevor, and, we've done it a little bit, but about horses like Transmission and Joe. And, the game's changed so much over the last, even the last 5 years, but the last 10 years for sure. And like, how do horses, you've probably seen Clint's horse, the Bay, that won Horse of the Year, in transmission. Like, how do those horses measure up to back when, whoever, it was a race to get to the cow. It wasn't about getting a swing off in the box and throwing your whole head rope and wild runs. It was about who scored the best, whose horse would get them there the fastest and let them control the run. And like, how do those horses measure up against horses like, y'all got to watch Walt and Scooter and just great. Trev had, Sickum and Boogie, and then, Banker, he was scoring, running sucker. And like, how do those horses that Clint's riding measure up against those horses that we seen dominate 10 years ago?
Well, like I said in the last segment, for me, I always struggle coming to the NFR, not feeling that I had the right horse for this, for the Thomas and Mack. It takes a special horse, for these conditions. And the horse that I feel was one of the best head horses ever here was Viper when Speedy was in his prime. That horse was just phenomenal here. And that's, and Speedy, he was known to, be a reacher too. But he proved that, you come across there on a flat horse and stick it on him, and he would just turn them right there. It was just, their run was so good. And so that's the style, that I feel that guys, and the horse, to me, the horse is everything here.
Yeah, and like you say, if you're talking about all year, I think 10, 15 years ago, the longer scores, and everybody had a similar style, and horses, everybody was after the same horse. I think a few of those attributes are always going to be, the horses that want to score, the horses that want to run to the cow, that can keep their head and face, and still be strong but not get strong. But I see the guys today, their styles are so different. You go from, T-Wade to Clint to Dustin to Clay Smith. I think it's real important that you know your style and you find a horse that has those attributes that help your style, because they don't all ride the same type of horse, but it needs to magnify their own strengths or whatever that they have.
Yeah, and something, we get to rope with Clint a lot at home, and I've been able to jump on his horses and feel them and know what they are. And one thing about his horses is they're user friendly. Like, there's probably no one here roping at the World Series that couldn't jump on transmission in the short go and go win. And so I want you to tell everybody viewing this, like, when you, what do you want to feel in a head horse? When you go try something, like, what's make or break? What do they have to do? What do you need to feel? And is it more important to feel something amazing that you can't ride, or is it more important to feel something a little, dumbed down that is going to let you win?
I think it's kind of in between, honestly. Obviously, they have to be good in the box for me. If not, I'm rattled from the get-go. I love one that's calm and scores. That's the best part. And then when you throw a little bit of run in there, man, that makes it. But I would rather them be a touch easy than, on edge, and you kind of got to do this to get by them, and then they're amazing. I think just easy, that means a lot. When you're out here rodeoing every day, if you're trying to get by one, you make 4 or 5 runs, and he's outstanding on them, but you don't know what's coming on the next one. If he's going to run and drop out of sight, or, he might go through your hand, I'd rather have one that I know I can kind of pull around and just do what I need to do to get by instead of having to worry about something. But I don't know if Trevor remembers when I was still healing, he talked to me about heading, and I said, well, man, I know that to be a great header, you got to have great horses, and I have no idea where to do that. I said, I've healed forever. I said, you would have to help me. And he said, well, no doubt. And so I have to give a lot to this guy, because there's not a head horse that I get into that I don't call Trevor and say, hey, what do you think? And we talk about it. Just like Joe, when I bought him, he even told me, he said, if he'll sell him, it's a no-brainer. I guarantee you he fits you. He said, you need to buy the horse. And, and obviously there's several come out of y'all's barn that I've got. I've got Kobe out there. I think that he's going to be one of them horses. But this guy, man, I owe a lot to him, because I am where I am in the heading because of him.
Yeah, 100%. No one in this room can say that more than me, and it's just, my next question, but I wanted to touch, like on Kobe, you've got along with him good and picked him up right after the futurity, but that was a horse that, Trev dominated. I think the beginning of the year won the first 4 futurities in a row on him, and I was hoping that he would let me ride him at some point, but I'll just tell everybody I just rode him before those 4 futurities. But
you were the one that put the foundation on him.
yeah, I just had him ready. No, that wasn't me either, but I got to enjoy getting to watch him beat me. I was always close behind him, but just not close enough. So, but like that horse, he dominated at those futurities because that was one horse at a young age that Trev could back in there. He scored good. He had a lot of presence, but he let Trev win. We're roping open cattle in open type setups, and cattle to the right, to the left, and you have to have a horse that if your horse is patterned and you have to try to get around him and show him, it's gonna show up. You can still go win on that horse, but you can't win 4 futurities in a row unless your horse lets you go use him, and that falls into what you're talking about being easy. You can't compete at any level really if you're trying to beat the cow, help your partner, and you're trying to have to beat your horse at the same time.
No, absolutely. But it goes back to, great horses and work ethic. That's everything. I mean, it goes back to Jake and Clay back whenever I was a kid. And then it went to Speed and Rich, then Clay Trine, and then Trev. I mean, everything them guys done, they got a work ethic, and they had the best horses. And I think that's huge, I think.
Yeah. My next question was, did you – I know you wasn't heading yet, but did you get to ride like Sikkim and Boogie? I know you got to ride JV, which was kind of the horse that Trev rodeoed on. I think maybe the last year you was out there, but I know in that horse that was a great horse. I think you maybe still have him, but did you get to ride any of those horses?
No, I had to rode Boogie, and I rode JV that day, the little black mare, and Banker. That was before the timed event. He got them all out, and he said, ride them, figure out which one fits you. I rode them all, and I was like, I don't – they're all great. I ain't never rode one this good, So whichever one we take, I'm good with. Yeah. And he said, well, I think we're going to take JV. He'd never really took him to town. He said, let's take him up there. And that horse obviously was great. I ended up getting to own him later, and I don't know, great horses are hard to come by, but he seems to find them.
Well, I know there's going to be young kids watch this, and so I'm going to go off the track for a second, but I asked Clint one time – because I come around a little bit later, and I was at the timed events the year that Clint went up there and helped Trev on both ends, and I always thought like that's an impressive call to get that call to go help, and Clint helps us at the futurities and stuff, but helping's not a real desirable job because there's no glory in it, but you're carrying everything on your back. You have one job, and it is not to mess up. You can't mess up. Your job has to be perfect, and then everybody's watching him.
If I'm going to get off on a bulldog and steer, they better be perfect.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. But I asked him one time, I'm like, how did you get that duty? And I think you might have said y'all got to rope in the Northwest or something, and I want you to tell that story in a second. But, we have people even now that I'm down there with Trev come around, and it's the people that, and Clint mentioned doing this. He said, I was just glad to get to be there. I wanted to go, and I wanted to rake the boxes. I wanted to help out. I wanted to feed the horses, and Trev notices that kind of stuff. He notices that work ethic, and Clint was young at the time, and I don't know how old you were when you got to go help him at the timed events, but I want to talk a little bit about what got you noticed, because it got you in the arena with the greatest cowboy to ever do it.
That summer, I'd rope with T-Wade, and we didn't do very good. And I felt like I needed to keep going. I needed to go to the Northwest. I needed to put forth the effort and let them guys see it that, hey, he's here. He's going to do whatever it takes. So I was asking around, and somebody had texted me and said, hey, you need to talk to Trevor. I think Patrick might be going home. And I'm like, no way. He's not going to rope with me. And they was like, seriously, you should. So I remember walking up to him at Cheyenne, and I said, hey, is Patrick going home? And he's like, I don't know, whatever. I'll get back to you. So I was like, well, there that goes, not getting a rope with him.
You're like, I've heard no before.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of had a few excuses, but anyway, got around to it, and he texted me about a week later, 2 or 3 days or something. And he said, hey, Patrick ain't going. And we actually missed the books on a few rodeos, and he said, if you don't want to go, whatever, but he's not going to go, and you want to go, we'll rope. So I was like, man, tell me when and where. and the first rodeo we entered was Circle, Montana, and I was in Seguin, Texas. I went home, and I remember I got me a new trailer, and I drove all night to get to the sled.
I know he didn't fly. This
No,
guy does
I
not-
didn't fly.
He does not like to fly.
And anyway, got up there, and I got the rope, and I feel like that's where our friendship kicked off, really, you know. And I just did whatever it takes. When we got home, he gave me a chance to come over there and practice. And obviously, growing up roping like I do, I know what goes into it. So when I got over there and seen his routine, man, when I get there, if things ain't done and they're trying to get ready, and mine's done, I just get in there and start helping like I'm part of it, you know. And the boxes, like you said, they need raked. Obviously, I mean, you don't want to ride head horses in deep boxes all day, so why not? I mean, if you're standing around, why not help out and be a part of the team? I feel like that goes a long ways, you know. I mean, somebody just leans up and wants to watch all day and get just their part out of the deal. You got to be a team player, and man, I don't know, I just grateful to be where I'm at.
That I don't know. It's easy to recognize. You know, everybody's like, "What do you do?" You know, it's easy to recognize. I saw his desire to do whatever it takes, either end. And I'm not saying you have to go and kiss up to anybody, but I mean, like, if you're not afraid, like, if we had 6 head horses to ride and he was done with his, he would unboot one. When I was roping with Alan Bach, I'd never seen anybody. Patrick Smith was saddling horses, unsaddling horses, working the chutes for Al Bach at that time. I mean, like, when you can be around the best there is, you do whatever it takes to get in there. I mean, that's not like they hold class for people like that. No, you got to go figure out a way in that. Tough Cooper was the same way. He would unboot horses, saddle, unsaddle, do whatever, and he's my brother-in-law. I mean, but it's just that extra stuff. It didn't matter what it was. I mean, I saw the same stuff in you, and I keep waiting for it to kind of start on the decline, but it doesn't. My barn lights go on at 4 a.m. every morning like clockwork. You can set your clock to it. Guys that will do whatever it takes to get where they want to go, that it's not hard to see, and you can tell really quick if people just like to talk about it or if they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, well, just in life in general, you need people to pour into you. You know, we rely on each other, and if you want to keep advancing, people have to pour into you. You know, I go back to maybe my first year in college, and I had a mutual friend, Josh Sly, and he knew Jake, and I knew Jake was great, you know, and Jake, I would send videos to Jake, and he would help me out. But I also met Jake at a roping school, and Jake seen that I was willing to work hard, you know, and people have to believe in you. They've got to know, for them to pour into you, they've got to know that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there, and that's raking the boxes, that's helping out, that's doing the extra stuff. It's not just about backing in the box and running steers, and I'm a testament of it, because I say all the time that I don't deserve to be where I'm at, but I mean, Trev's been around it. Like, I put in work when no one was watching. When I was in Oklahoma and it was, you know, freezing mornings or in the teens or whatever, I was out there doing it on days that my saddle horn had ice on it, you know, and for no reason. There wasn't no cameras around, there wasn't no one watching, but that kind of stuff doesn't go unnoticed, and getting to sit here with, you know, 3 guys that have helped me out, and, you know, Jake and Trev being older than me and pouring into me, I can just tell these young kids how much, if you want to get there, you have to have people that are willing to help you out, and you have to prove to those people that you're worth helping out, because there's hundreds and thousands of kids that are all doing this. But we talked about it right before this started, you know, when you start up the ladder, people are going to fall off. They're going to keep falling off, and for you to make it to the top, you know, like all you have, and for me in my own world, you know, I just wanted to be a cowboy and train horses, and to get to do what I'm doing now at the level I'm doing it, it's just a testament that if you can just keep having the right people pour into you and people keep believing in you and you just keep not falling off as you go up the ladder, eventually you're going to get there.
We said it earlier when the microphone wasn't on, but I don't care if you have that desire in your heart and you're not afraid to work and you will do what it takes. It doesn't matter if you're behind. We mentioned Patrick earlier. He didn't start. He was a dirtback rider. It doesn't matter if you're willing to put in the time, because there's 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that you may think it's insurmountable, to get to where they are, the difference between y'all. But it's the sad truth of this life. There's going to be decisions. There's going to be addictions. There's going to be everything. Especially, it seems like the more gifted they are, and the further out they get ahead than their peers, all of a sudden, drugs, boom, one's gone. Alcohol, boom, one's gone. Just bad choices in general will make a way for the people that want to work hard and do the right thing.
Jake, I feel like you have to have something to say about this. You've got to see it happen forever,
Yeah, I've been around a long time, and not saying that we haven't made bad choices in life, but like Trevor said, there's so many, in our beliefs, being a Christian, that putting God first. And Satan's got so many traps out there for us, to stay on the straight and narrow is tough, and especially when you're out rodeoing and you're away from your families, and there's a lot of obstacles out there. But the guys that make the decision, to keep their head in the game and put the work ethic in, and one thing that people don't realize, like Trevor and guys that have been able to stay on the top, the work ethic, you make a lot of sacrifices from your family, being away from your family and rodeoing and being gone, and it takes a toll on you. But the guys that are willing to, stay hooked and for the long haul, and, guys that have been on top, and it takes a good woman, to stay home and raise the kids and take care, that's really special to me,
Yeah, 100%. And, Clint's got him one now, and a woman and a baby, and
Claxton, I think, is the lucky charm in this whole
that's what I was about
scenario.
to say. It looks like about
I never
that.
saw him win like this before Claxton got here.
Yeah.
No, it's brought a whole new meaning to rodeo, and I can tell you.
It looks like the nap during the steer wrestling Britt sent us a Snapchat last night, and she said it's going to be a good night because you could see Clax's eyes slowly moving in the steer wrestling, and then he's awake to watch Dad rope. And
He's been getting a power nap in that steer wrestling, and whatever he's doing, I hope he keeps doing it.
Yeah, man, it's been fun to watch. And just to wrap us up, let's talk a little bit about what's to come. Like we said, we got first in the average is Nelson and Jonathan. There's not a lot of teams that have got them all caught. Clint, y'all are killing the rounds, and y'all are just fifth in the average. So going through the next half of it, a lot happens, and you're sitting here you're sitting first in the world right now, and you're not down too far in the average. And so, you obviously just sticking with the game plan of what you're doing.
That'd be high team back at a lot of four-headers right there. 11-7 on 3. I like that.
Yeah, I don't think we can change anything, honestly, because like I've said 1,000 times, when we back in there, we're not trying to do anything special. We're trying to make our run, which is what we've worked at so hard to get here. And like I said, we're going to make our run, and whatever the clock says, that's what it's going to be. And I feel like if you try to do anything different than that, then you're just making it harder than it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And you keep doing what you're doing. And I know Jake's can keep throwing fast. He's helped us at a futurity before, and when his job was just to catch, he was doing it on the first hop. And seeing him up there that high, I know the feeling, but you're like, man, I'd like to handle this cow good, but I just need to get out of here. I need to get it going and let my man throw.
He always tells me that. He said, man, it don't matter if it's 10th round. Ever since we started roping, he's told me this. Said, don't matter if it's 10th round NFR. All we got to do is catch, or if we're a high team at the BFI. He said, I would much rather go make our run than for you to be off the barrier and run up there and just head him, ease him around there. He said, I don't do good that way. He said, let's just make our run He said, I'm in time and I'm in rhythm. He said, I feel like I'm way better off, and it proves it.
Yeah, no, it's looking great. So, Jake, thanks for being here. Trev, thanks. It's Clint, man, it's cool to get to sit here with all you guys, and hope you keep killing it out there.
Thanks.
Thank y'all.
I'm 100 miles an hour now. Now I'm ready, set, go.